Alrighty, Ryland. So, wanted to make a quick video for you, just kind of showcasing what we've done over these past two sessions and just kind of the things that we'll keep building on and we'll keep working on. So, I'm going to play your mechanics side by side and then we'll go into it. Okay, so first things first, one of the things that we worked on that you did a great job with this week, I'm actually going to take this off just to showcase this. I want to take a look here at your hip, right? In the first image, right, or rather below is kind of the mechanics that we had beforehand. The difference between where we're at right now versus where we were at is right here, we're getting into our hip properly versus right here. I don't necessarily like to say the word that we're faking it, but we're inadvertently trying to get in our hip by a means of a different way, right? So, for example, one way that a lot of guys like to think about getting into their hip is just to completely turn their back, right? Versus what we're doing in the top is that we're hinging our back hip right here to get into this position. And another thing, too, that I want you to notice, if I were to draw a straight line just between your body, right? The bottom one, we don't really go anywhere until we go down, right? Until we go into this kind of drop that we had, right? And look kind of the difference between this drop and then just the ease of the second one on the top here, right? So if I were to draw a line, right, in this one right here, the one that I'm pointing an arrow at, actually, let me just clear them. This one that I'm pointing an arrow at, what we're doing is we don't really make any forward progress until we get in this drop position here where you kind of take your little, what you used to do with that just very subtle drop that you did. That's what got you down the mountain versus if we're looking at this one, it's that we hinge in this back hip right here. Let me actually put a circle on this. We're hinging in this back hip, which is pulling us, actually wrong thing there, which is pulling us forward, right? And we're making forward progress down the mound. Now, like I talked about before, you're a hybrid between a driver and an accelerator. This is the accelerator in you, right? So you're using the acceleration of gravity, but additionally, if we kind of look between this one and this one, we're in a lot more of an athletic position on top because we're, number one, getting into this back hip better, but also, number two, take a look at this versus this, right? Everything in the top is going straight down to the ground, right? Versus this one, we're kind of taking everything back, right? And we talked about before, we don't want to go 2 steps back to go 1 step forward, which is what we did a great job with this week, that instead of having to go back, we're instead starting from ground point 1 and creating all this potential energy then to transfer into our delivery, right? So there's a great thing you did there. Secondly, another thing that I do want to point out, and you probably don't really even notice this, I want you to take a look at your lead foot here and your lead foot here. And if you notice, if I was to draw a line here, which is kind of like the paw print of this, of that blue paint job that's on the mound, we are a lot further down the mound in this one versus this one, which means in terms of perpetual velocity, which we talked about, we are going to showcase more perpetual velocity because we're closer to the batter now. So you're doing a great job there too. Again, fantastic bottom half position. Another thing I want you to notice that you did a lot better of this week, let me actually clear this again. Whenever we get to this point, right, take a look at your shoulder, right? Now, one thing that I want to keep working on is I want this elbow to be above your shoulder. So we'll keep working on that. But one thing that I want you to take note of is this glove hand, which is where I was originally going with, right? So whenever we get to this point in the top, now we're tucking it, right? Which is giving us a better chance of taking that pitch straight to the plate versus with this one, right? We're throwing our glove to the left this way, right? Which is also shifting our body. I don't know if you could tell. In this one, we more so have our weight going that way versus this one. Yes, we have our weight still going towards the right side of your body, but instead we're getting a little bit closer to going straight to the mound. So that's another thing that I want to work on this upcoming weekend, which is going to be just bringing all your momentum towards the plate. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna see there's actually go look up a pitcher by the name of Bob Gibson and look how he finished. The difference is, right, I have no problems with how you finish. It's more so, where do we finish after we take it all momentum towards home plate, right? So I'm okay with you falling off the right side after you finish, right? After you throw your pitch, I'm more than fine with you finishing on the right side, right? Because at the end of the day, we have to allow your body to decelerate naturally. We get into injuries and, putting stress on your body when we try to force it to stop, right? Versus natural deceleration. So that's another thing too I want to keep working on. One thing I did notice through this entire week is we have a lot better getting into this whip-like action, right? Now we're still pushing it just a little bit, but we're getting closer, right? So that's something I want to keep working on. And obviously, from experience, because even I did this in my career. And heck, I even still do it to this day. It's the hardest thing for me to work on. But obviously, we'll keep working on it. Especially, you're a young kid. You got a lot of future ahead of you, especially in this game. So we got time to work on this, which I'm really excited about. And then finally, with our finish, a lot better finishing over our front side, right? A lot better job at finishing over our front side. I really think we could finish even more over our front side, but from this angle right here, you're doing a lot better of a job finishing over your front side. So otherwise, great job this week, Ryland. We'll keep working on it. And like I said before, trust the process. It's going to be a process, and that's just pitching in a nutshell. But trust me when I say this, there's a lot of potential in you, and we got to just untap it, and that's all it really is. So great job and keep working.